Hello.
Hello, I'm looking for Diamond Dallas Page.
You're talking to him.
Hey, man, this is Dustin Wellness from KMSU. How you doing?
Good, man.
Awesome. I'm here with my co-host, Ton.
Hey, how you doing?
Ton?
Ton, like 2,000 pounds, yep.
Hey, Ton. That's what I thought I heard, but I don't want to make sure, you know?
Yep, you're good.
Right.
Well, since we're in Minnesota here and you got your start in the AWA as a manager, do you want to kind of tell us how you got started with wrestling?
I sent Vern Gagne's AWA a tape of me and a bunch of guys who wanted to wrestle that, that I came up with storylines, characters. It's actually, I have the audition tape I sent to them on DDPTV.com. You can go back all the way to my first episode or second episode. I have that tape there. And they called me up. They were like, we want to bring in your guys for a tryout. And I was like, well, those guys can't wrestle. And they're like, what? What would you send us a tape for? I said, well, they want to learn, but it's like a secret society. No one can figure out how to get in. And I could manage right now, you know. And they're like, oh, don't call us, we'll call you. And then Paulie dangerously left the AWA and went to the NWA and left a big hole there for a young guy that could talk that people hadn't seen. And they brought me in and tried me out, and that's how I got my break.
And you were only there for a few months, right?
A little over a year.
A little over a year?
You know, I mean, you can see that. I think we would film one tape. We would tape actually 4 shows in one setting. So I'd go there for one day to Vegas, and we'd get a month in, and it'd be on ESPN, 3 weeks after that, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now it plays like at 10 o'clock at 12 o'clock at night on the ESPN Classic, which is pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, then after you left there and you said you went to the NWA or WCW around that time when it changed, and you were managing the Fabulous Freebirds and stuff, right?
Yep.
Was it
Scott Hall?
And Scott Hall, yeah. Was it like a big change when you moved to WCW compared to AWA, or?
Yeah, huge. Because I was working one day a month there in Vegas, and in the WCW, I was in Atlanta, and they had TV, a couple times a week, and house shows and all that. So I actually went onto the road then, and about 5 months into it, they pulled me aside and said, listen, Diamond, with the hair, the rap, the broads, Diamond Dolls, the gimmicks, no one's paying attention to the wrestler. It was T.A. Magnin who said it to me. He said, what we should have done is give you a pair of tights and boots and see if you can do this. And he sort of laughed and walked away. I was 35 at the time, and I was like, you know what? I never got into this to be a manager. I got into, when I was a kid, when I was 22, trying to be a wrestler, but it didn't work out. And I'm going to go back to that power plant. I'm going to learn how to wrestle. And I just focused in on a goal and a dream, and 3 months I was on TV and wrestled for close to a year. Then I tore my rotator cuff, and they fired me at 36. I came back at 37, and that's really where I started to really apply myself. And I still went to the power plant all the time because they were never going to give me an opportunity to go out there and really make it. So I had to make my own. And if you don't if you don't wrestle all the time, you don't really get any better.
Yeah.
I went down there and started training people. And the more people I trained, the more I learned. The more I learned, the better I got. And by the time it came around for my opportunity in '95, I was ready. And I was the most improved wrestler of the year, according to Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Awesome. But do you feel with the fact that you were older than the other guys in the locker room, or some of them, and I suppose being on the road with Scott Hall and Michael P.S. Hayes, that was probably tricky at points too. But did you think it was difficult to kind of make it as a wrestler?
Are you kidding? Yeah, just a little. Just imagine hitting the floor at any point in your body, when you're over 35.
Yeah.
I was the oldest rookie ever. Everybody was like, dude, you're smoking crack. You're not going to be able to do this. And Scott was, very few of the guys knew my age. And Scott was like, dude, by the time you learn it, you're going to be too old to do it. But, I put myself on the super cram method of learning. And I was lucky to have some really good mentors. And Dusty Rhodes, there is no Diamond Dallas Page without Dusty Rhodes. Jake Roberts, too. Jake Roberts taught me a lot when it came to psychology and stuff. And I learned all that stuff when I was tore my rotator cuff and I was unemployed. So, everyone always, complains about the negative things that happen in their lives, when the reality is, if you really apply yourself when you're getting knocked down, you come back stronger, you come back better. But if you embrace the negativity, you're screwed.
Yeah. Well, did you have any favorite guys that you worked with around that time when you first broke in?
Yeah, actually, Kerry Taylor was great to work with because he taught me a lot. And, it's like Fred and Ginger, Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. It's a very physical dance, but if you don't pay attention to who's leading the dance, you're screwed. So I just learned, it's so hard to go out there and make people care, especially when you're nobody. Now, for the big stars, it's way easier. And I learned that too, but when you're out there and you're trying to, you walk out in front of 20,000 people. At some point, that would happen in my life, my career. Wrestling got hot as hell, and when you walk out in front of 20,000 people, they know that you know, and you know that they know that they know that you know that you and your partner both know who's going to win before you walk out there. So how do you make them care?
Right.
And that's a key. That's the art of professional wrestling. That's why some guys are really over, and other guys they don't care about. And figure that part out.
Yeah.
And I learned that guys that are really over are just exaggerations of themselves. I'm not Diamond Dallas Page, that guy who's on TV, but yes, I am. So is Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Steve Austin, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. All of them are an exaggeration of themselves, and they got people to connect with it. So one of the things about starting so late in life was the really positive, spin on that is I was constantly trying to figure out ways to hold back the hands of time. Starting so late, knowing I only had a short window, to really accelerate when my career took off. And my career took off in 1996. I was 40, and from 96 to 2002, I was on fire.
Yeah. And
especially from 97 to 2000. It was an unbelievable run for me, and really 96 to 2000. And Diamond Dallas Page, was lucky enough to become a household name when it came to wrestling, but then doing stuff with Jay Leno and Karl Malone, stuff on The Tonight Show and movies and stuff, and it opened up, so many different avenues to me. But again, it came down to how I held back the hands of time, and that's what I'm doing today. In 98, I ruptured my L4 and L5. Do you know what that is?
On the vertebrae, or?
Yes, on your back. The L4 and L5, that's the center of the universe, the low back.
Yeah.
And I ruptured my L4 and L5, very similar to what Jericho recently did last year, his L4, and the doctor said his career was over. And for me, that was depressing at the time for me in 98. And at the time I was doing the rehab, and my wife, at the time we were still married, she was like, why don't you do yoga to heal your body? I'm like, yoga? I'm not doing that crap. There's nothing about me that's yoga. And she was like, you're really stupid. You should really try this because it's zero impact on your body, which is what you need right now, and you might be able to help yourself, heal yourself.
Yeah.
So reluctantly, I went down and started doing some tape with her, which was a total joke. And everybody was a stick figure, and there was no person modifying any position. But I found myself figuring it out and sweating my ass off and falling down, and it was really uncomfortable, sort of like that. And in about 3 weeks, I started to see a real difference, and I was blown away by that. So I started to add those yoga moves to the rehab I was already doing, and then I added in some old school calisthenics, push-ups, squats, crunches. That was slow, dynamic, resistant movement. And what I found out that the more I wear a heart monitor anytime I work out, and anybody who does any kind of cardiovascular training at all should wear a heart monitor. All the top triathletes wear them. It's sort of like the barometer to your body, because your heart literally is your engine. And many, many, many people, especially I watched The Biggest Loser, it's so bad. I mean, those people's heart rates, if they put a heart monitor on those people, it'd be over 200. And that's wearing and tearing on your body for later on, big time. Or will blow you out, blow a hamstring, you blow your back. There'll be some part of your body just goes, okay, uncle, gives up. So I wear the heart monitor all the time. And I've been doing that before I ruptured my L4 and L5. So at one point, I was doing a workout, and I'd done some 10-second push-ups. In the beginning, I couldn't do a push-up on my knees. So I lowered to my knees, and instead of just lowering like they do in yoga, I would lower for 3 seconds, hold 3 inches off the ground for 3 seconds, come up for 3 seconds, come down, hold, then go to the next position. Eventually, I got off my knees, and 3-second push-ups became 10, or I should say became 5. 5 became 10, then became sets of 10. So I started to see how my body was, working with all these different elements I was throwing into it, and I realized that every time I engage a muscle or flex a muscle, your heart's got to beat faster to get the blood to the muscle. And I figured that out by seeing my heart rate like 140 when I'm doing push-ups. I'm like, what? How's that possible? And I just figured it out. Before you know it, I had a zero impact. There's so many people who are listening to this, especially on your radio show. Listen, guys who are beat up, were athletes in high school, college, or at that damn computer, and they get up, they feel like they had a match with the Big Show. Your body is beat up. So you need P90X or Insanity, great workouts for people under 25, because under 25, no pain, no gain. Over 30, guess what? Pain means pain. And long story short, I figured out how to create a workout that had zero impact on your body, kick-ass cardio, dynamically, I would say dramatically increased flexibility in core strength conditioning. And that's how I got back in the ring. That's what I'm doing today with my DDP Yoga workout. It ain't your mama's yoga.
Awesome. You mentioned earlier, I want to go back a little bit, when you were in WCW, and it seems like every time they had celebrities or non-wrestlers come in to do cameos, like you said, Jay Leno and Karl Malone and David Arquette, they always seemed to have them in a program with you. Do you know why that was? Or?
Yeah, because I could work. And I would take the time to train them. There's a big part. I mean, the whole thing is trying to get them to look as good as they can look, and that can be really hard because what we do is really hard.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to go out there and make it look as real as possible, but not trying to hurt each other. And when people get hurt, that's the end of an angle. Whereas you look at mixed martial arts, MMA, there's guys that get hurt all the time going into their pay-per-view, into their big fight. Right now, George St. Pierre's hurt. He tore his ACL. Anderson Silva, he tore his rotator cuff. Guys get hurt all the time in camp.
Yeah.
And our thing, if you're hurt, we work around the injury. Your knee's hurt, we'll work around it. In their sport, they're going to take you out in that spot,
Well, when you won the WCW Championship for the first time, the Heavyweight Championship, what was that feeling after knowing, guys said that you were too old to start wrestling and all that? What did that feel like when you finally got it?
When I wrote it in my book, Positively Page, it's the Diamond Dallas Page Journey, with a picture of me holding a belt in the last color picture, and I said something like, to all of those who said I could never or would never, nothing could have motivated me more. Thanks. Because I'm one of those people, you tell me I can't do something, I go, really? You don't know me, and I don't ever quit. I don't ever quit. A lot of people say that, but I don't, and I live it. I walk the talk. So it was very gratifying. I remember at one point in '97 when I was just on fire, and Buff Bagwell came in the locker room. He goes, "Steve, come here a minute." And I walked out, out of the locker room, and you're just around the corner from the arena, and everybody was chanting DDP, DDP, DDP. He goes, "Man, this is blowing my mind." He goes, "You are so on fire. These people chanting. You're not even out there." It was a trip.
So when did you start to realize WCW was kind of going downhill?
The ratings, that's easy to see, and the direction. Eric Bischoff, who's actually from Minneapolis, he did an amazing thing. Mind-blowing thing. I can remember him telling me we're gonna beat Vince McMahon in WWF. I'm like, are you smoking crack? Then it got to the point where we're gonna shut them down. I'm like, dude, you're never gonna do that. And I never thought in a million years that he could do it, and he did. So So I watched all that, like from right, because me and Eric were very, very tight back then. And I was fortunate to see it all. And when I saw him getting so stressed towards the end, and then they brought Russo in, I knew that wasn't a good thing. And then, you see what you see it going. Everyone says, what do you think about the failure of the canceling and ending of WCW? WCW we're doing amazing ratings when we got for what we're doing today.
Yeah. Compared
to what we were doing a 3.8 to a 4.4. So WWE's not doing those ratings on Monday Night on Raw. It's what I'm explaining is that we still had unbelievable ratings. We've had a huge overhead, and WCW never would have went away if this guy who came in from Warner Brothers didn't cancel the show.
Right.
The show was like, don't cancel it. Let me go take it to Fox. But no, they just canceled it. Instead of Bischoff paying the $50 million he was going to pay and absorbing the $30 million in contracts, they said, we're canceling it. And they sold it to Vince, and then after they canceled it, when they realized how bad they screwed themselves, for $5 million. Ridiculous. It was the worst. And thinking, it didn't affect me directly. It did absolutely big time, and as time went by. But directly in the beginning, I knew that WWE wanted me to come in there. I'd never been there, so I knew they wanted me to come in. So it wasn't like I wasn't going to have a job, but there was a lot of people who weren't going to have jobs. A lot.
Yeah.
So that jerk off that made that decision, he changed a lot of people's lives, in not a good way,
Well, when you left the WCW and you had your Positively Page character, was that, similar to AWA to NWA? Was that a huge kind of culture shock to switch? Or?
Oh, yeah, culture shock, yeah, but not, because they did things so differently. But, it was a point in time where, coming right off the war. So you put the two top guys together, and then it's storyline, bro.
Yeah.
It's not like I really went out there and had real fights with Undertaker. It was storyline. So if Taker takes me down pretty easily, that's storyline. And that's just to put a thumbnail in it that WWE is much better than WCW. It was not a good feud. I had a great feud with not a great, but a good feud without really anything on it with Christian. And there we got to blow the roof off at WrestleMania, which was one of my major goals. And that storyline was written really well for Diamond Dallas Page. And what I was going to do was take the Bang, Feel the Bang guy and mix him with the Positive guy, which is really who I am. Vince had me doing that goofy smile and stuff, and the people seemed to love it. I thought it was goofy as hell, but again, it's part of what makes the guys' characters. It ended up being a good feud for me to leave on, because I almost broke my neck coming out of a match I had with Bob Holly. And at 46 years old at the time, I knew it was time for me to take a powder. If you go to DDPYOGA.com, you'll see a video of me taking that bump. I have a whole video on how I overcame my injuries from two shoulder torn rotator cuffs to two meniscus tears in my left knee, one in my right, ACL, L4 and L5 in my back, my neck. I mean, it's a mess. I show you what my neck looks like, what my back looks like, and then what a healthy back and neck looks like, and then you see the stuff I'm doing today at 55 years young because of DDP Yoga. It'll blow your mind.
Well, do you have a good relationship with the WWE now, or you have a Legends contract? Or?
Yep, and I have an awesome relationship with them. And I'm not going to wrestle anymore, but there's a lot of opportunity coming with WWE right now. They got their own station, their own network they're going to start. So that's there's so many things that could happen through that. So we'll see what happens. I signed a Legends deal with them probably about a couple months ago.
Okay, you're not going to be living in that Legends house, are you? That show that they're doing.
I know I won't be living in it. I may be a participant down the line. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't. But it depends what they're trying to achieve, that Legend show. All I've heard about it, I've only heard it from people asking me on, the internet shows or the radio shows. I really haven't seen a treatment for it. I have no idea what they're trying to do. But if they're trying to, take guys who are beat up or something, I mean, that's what I do. The only reason Chris Jericho's in the ring right now is because he did my program, and he'll tell you that. I actually have one, DDPYOGA.com, where he actually says DDP Yoga changed my life. And when he said that, I was like, wow. Because I just filmed him after we got done working out. Mick Foley's coming to my house on Friday, to work out because he wants to try to hold back the hand of time. And he's even though he's 10 years younger than me, he's way older than me body-wise, like maybe decades.
Yeah.
And he's going back in the ring. I just sent, he wants a private tutorial with me, and to get him up and get him started. And I just sent it to Kane and Santino, Hurricane Shane Helms. He's coming off a bad motorcycle accident. He's starting a program. He's coming on my radio show, as a matter of fact, and we're talking about that. So right now, if they're trying to heal, like trying to help those guys, whatever, that are beat up, I would be perfect for that show. But I don't know. No one's contacted me or talked to me about it, so I really don't even know what that show's about.
Okay. Are you doing any other acting? I know you were in a few movies, Devil's Rejects, and is that something you're going to continue to do?
Yeah, whenever I get the role. For me, it's sort of like that's the hardest thing ever to do out here. I'm in Los Angeles. I've been here the last 10 years, and it's so hard to get parts and stuff because there's a billion people going for them. In wrestling, it's really hard, but there's only a select group of guys that even get to that next level. I mean, there's probably tens of thousands of guys who wrestle on the independent circuit that'll never be seen on TV ever. Yeah. Not even as, getting their ass kicked. Out here, I've been fortunate. I just did a lead with Frankie Muniz. Remember him from Malcolm in the Middle? Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Malcolm in the Middle?
Yeah.
Well, him, Shelley Long, Corbin Burnson, Michael Gross from Family Ties. It's a family movie, and it's called Pizza Man. And I play a guy who goes from being just a stooge for Corbin Burnson to being the evil Big Cheese. And it's a pretty fun role. Had a lot of it's a family movie. It's a comedy, a superhero comedy. And we'll see what happens with that. But I did that, and I did one with Danny Trejo not long ago too, where I play the heel. And there's, like I said, they're fun roles, decent money, but I'm not. That's not what my passion is. My passion's with changing lives right now. Do you guys get to see that video of that guy, the disabled veteran, on my site?
No, not yet, but we'll check it out for sure.
You haven't seen that? He's working on canes for 15 years. Knee braces, it's strapped into a back brace. That guy's working 15 years, 5'6", 297 pounds. Watch what happened to him at the end of 9 months.
Wow.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about passion is helping others right now, and you kind of talked a lot about your yoga program earlier, but that's the main thing that you're focusing on right now then?
Oh, A to Z, man. A to Z. I developed an online network called Team DDP Yoga, and I have without question, the best damn support system on the planet. And it's not just me; it's the people that are on the site because the biggest reason why people fail with diets or trying to get healthier or just trying to change a lifestyle. Because I don't ever use the word diet because what's the first 3 letters of the word diet? Yeah, they die. They don't work. So I try to teach lifestyle, which is what I live. And like I say, one of the biggest reasons why guys fail or women fail in general when they try to do that is because their support system, sucks. They got someone at home still eating like garbage, and it's tough to develop a real support system. I have that on Team DDP Yoga, and actually when people go there and sign up, they immediately have people come by and welcome them. Only because when I started helping people, my whole thing was, if I help you, you help others. And that's what we do there, and it's pretty cool. I developed that workout, like I was telling you, 0 impact on your body, kick-ass cardio, dramatically increased flexibility and core strength conditioning. If you go to DDPYOGA.com and watch that video that's on the bottom, it's right. Jericho will be, as you come to the middle, and he'll talk about his thing. And I didn't pay him to say that. I'm not paying him to do any of this. I helped him, and he returns telling everybody. He said, sent me a text the other day. He's going to get the whole locker room, doing it. And Mick sent me a text coming in saying that, a lot of the guys are really intrigued. Anytime you can be pain-free, that's huge. I've helped Mark Merrow, Ray Lloyd, Glacier, a lot of guys that I've helped, alleviate pain. And while they're still getting a great cardiovascular workout. So if you go to DDPYOGA.com and you see Chris's, testimony, and then you look at that guy, the disabled veteran, Arthur Borman, and watch the transformation he made. That was almost 5 years ago, February 7th. It'll be 5 years ago, and when he started with me. And then under that, it says how DDP overcomes his injury. And I've got a slew of them. But when you see what I'm doing now, like I have my one set of workouts that's under DDP Yoga, my YRG workout. And then I've got DDP Extreme. And Extreme, like when you go to, to buy that, it says right away, if you're not in the greatest shape of your life, go back, get off this page. If you're constipated, get off this page.
Yeah.
Go back to the other one. Because this one is just what I said, my Extreme Psycho workout. Like when I lower for 10 seconds now, I keep my feet in the air and I do what I call psycho push-ups, my feet in the air. I do superhero push-ups, arms straight out in front of me, legs all the way back, lower all the way to the mat, and then I pull myself up again. What I'm doing today is I lay myself all the way to the mat. I pick my hands and my feet off the ground with my arms straight out in front of me and push my body off the ground. Go to DDP Yoga, you'll see me do it 13 times.
Wow, man.
And that was at the end of an hour-and-a-half workout. And sometimes I'll work out for 45 minutes. Sometimes I'll work out an hour and a half. And it all depends. I've got to listen to my body. And or if I'm in a hurry, I'll cut it short. But if you just do DDP Yoga 25 minutes a day, 3 days a week, you will change the way you feel. If you do it 4 days a week and 40 minutes a day, it'll completely change the way you feel. If you do it 5 days a week and get to an hour a day, it'll change your life. It'll own your life. And that's the whole key, is to how do you, with all the injuries you've gone through, how do you continue to hold back the hands of time? Nobody wants to die, but nobody wants to be older and can't do anything, or have people have to carry them and lift them, or live and be in pain. Nobody wants that. Now, they may be lazy enough not to do anything about it, but they don't want that. And, for me, my whole mission statement is about holding back the hands of time. And that's what I do now,
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Well, that's been pretty great talking to you. Any other upcoming stuff that you got planned other than the yoga that you're focusing on? Or
DDP Yoga, bro. Hey, your mama's yoga.
That's it.
One word,
right.
DDP Yoga. Yoga gets thrown into a clump of garbage. And I'm a guy who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga the first 42 years of my life, And I'll go to a class once in a while with someone else, but it's just not my cup of tea. My gimmick is completely different.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting thing that I think a lot of people probably have preconceived notions about. You're right.
Absolutely.
The whole yoga
and that's why I never let anybody call it yoga. Don't call my stuff yoga. You call other people's yoga, but you ain't calling mine. DDP Yoga? Like, what's DDP stand for? Diamond Dallas Page, the wrestler? When I developed the book, Yoga for Regular Guys, Rob Zombie wrote the foreword. And it started out with yoga, give me a effing break. And then he went into my whole YRG workout, which he did. That's why he wrote the foreword. And still does it today. And can you imagine Rob Zombie doing yoga? I don't think so. But he'll do DDP yoga because it's a different animal.
Awesome.
So guys, look at that video. Look at that video of that guy, because that's the greatest transformation in fitness history.
Yeah, we'll definitely check it out.
And if you guys ever want to do the program or give it a shot and actually really do it, then I'll send it to you and you got it. We'll do some kind of promotion or something. If you want to do it, if you give yourself being pulled in, let me know. All right?
Awesome,
Sure,
man.
that's awesome. Thanks.
All right, guys.
Well, thanks so much for talking with us.
Thanks for having me on, man.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye.